Yesterday was tough. The last few days have been difficult. Coming on an entire year of being home free because I refuse to say homeless. I'm not less because I don't have a home, but I am free because I don't have a home. No gutters, no grass, no garage, none of that kind of stuff. However, society says you must have a home. You must work 9 to 5. You must do this. You must do that. You must do the other thing. And when you break out of that, what happens is that sometimes you just run into a wall and you're like, boom, I've made these decisions. I made these choices. And yet the reality of me holding that energy is sometimes difficult. So I was watching She's Unstoppable with Sage Robbins earlier. And what they talked about was the idea that the pain of the old story is more destructive than the event itself. That was a huge wake up, Sheila. So what I did from that is, first of all, I had a shower. And then I went, oh, if I continue to tell the old story, I am continuing to traumatize myself. So what can I learn? What can I share about the freedom of not complying? So take that in for a moment. If you think about being rebellious, if you think about being a woman and rising, and you think about the consequence of that, do you think it's going to be something dreadful, or do you think it's going to be something glorious? Because it all depends on what you claim and what you choose for yourself. So right now, I am choosing home free because I'm not ready. I haven't found my spot. I've totally found my niche, which rhymes with rich. So I feel very, very wealthy. I feel abundant. I am totally healthy. And yet the little trigger in my brain says, you don't have this. And all of us believe that. You're lacking in that. You're not good enough. You're not enough. You don't know enough. You don't have any experience. Who are you? So, you know what? I claim that I'm loved. And when I have days that are miserable and I find myself being bitchy and angry and punching out, even if it's only in my mind, then I take a moment. And sometimes it takes, 36 hours, sometimes 72 hours of deep introspection where I go, wait a minute. I get to be at choice here how I show up in the world. I get to be at choice of who I am. No one else can tell you who you are. Only you know that. So, who are you? And when I claim I'm love and I say my heart radiates out 360 degrees, sometimes I forget to turn it back inward to me. So that I recognize that I am love. I am loving where I am. I am loving what I'm doing. I am loving the freedom. No house, no hoarding, none of that. So when you take those moments, no matter if it takes you 3 or 4 days to come through the old story, to write your new story. If you've ever done anything with me, I'm all about write, burn, and bury your old story. There is no life left in it. And when you take the time and energy to seclude yourself, to go, I'm not going out there to look for who I am. I'm going in here. 80% of showing up in the world comes from you knowing who you are, what you're good at, what matters to you, and who you're here to serve. So over the past few days, I've had some angry outbursts. And I have come to realize that, I need some time by myself. Not interacting with a lot of people. Not going here to distract myself, not going over there to distract myself, but really getting quiet with me. You know, women are rising, and we're rising because we have had enough. It's enough already. I'm done. And when you can say that, and then you go, but wait a minute, who am I? Well, I'm love, so I get to come from that. But first, I get to turn that around. So I'm reflecting that love back to myself. So the pain of the old story is often amplified because we continue to tell ourselves that, oh, I couldn't take time away for myself. Oh, I couldn't seclude myself for a few days. Oh, that's too much for me. However, when you stop and you do take that time for yourself, you learn that you are resilient, you are strong, you get to know yourself, you get to know your place in the universe, and you get to move forward from that place. If you just continue along, eating, drinking, going along with the crowd and doing what everyone else does, you're going to get the same sad results everyone else does. So take some time for yourself. If you're finding that you're angry, I was real angry a few days ago. Why is it like this? How come these people are doing that? Blah, blah, blah. And then I took some time for me. And I came to realize that, the angst that I'm feeling, I'm an empath. So of course I'm going to feel what the outside world feels. They're throwing shit around all over the place. And as an empath, I'm going to feel that. So the first thing, put up some protection around you. If you haven't figured out how to do that, or if you have your own method, but you want to know mine, go over to my YouTube channel and look for the protection video. I show you how to do a cosmic egg so that you are inside that, you feel safe, you feel secure. And from that place inside there, you're not necessarily picking up everything that everyone else feels. I spent some time in the city. The city is not my place anymore. It's too much. And so sometimes I forget, put up my protection. And then I wander around in the city feeling all these things that everyone is feeling and picking them up and thinking it's mine. It isn't mine. And then when I understand that, and I have the ability, choosing to take time away from me. Sometimes it's just an afternoon. Sometimes it's full on 3 days. Close the blinds. I used to, when I was a 9-to-5er, I would close the blinds on Friday night and I would open them again on Monday morning. I would take that time just to sit with myself. And sometimes, like I talked a few days ago about feeling like I'm jumping out of my skin, taking the summer off. Because what do you do with yourself when you take the summer off? Oh my God, I'm missing something. I should be doing this. And we have all those pressures that don't come from inside. Inside says, yeah, chillax, go on a walk, sit down, listen to some music. The outside says, get busy, run around. And that's how we distract ourselves from what's truly important. So what's truly important to you? Do you know? Have you figured out your non-negotiables? Your non-negotiables result in you understanding your priorities. When you understand your priorities, then you get to look at your beliefs about how the world is and how you fit into it and where you want to fit into it, and do you even want to fit into it? So I exclude myself from some things, like running around in the big city all the time, because it's too much energetically for me. I'm not interested. So what I do when I find myself there and have that happen is I run away. I lickety-split, get out of there. And then I take a moment and go, what's the lesson here? Well, the lesson for me was my protection wasn't big enough. As an empath, and if you're watching this, chances are pretty good that you're an empath, you take on other people's feelings. And we don't even know, because we weren't taught how to do this. We don't even know how to assuage those feelings, sort them out from whose feelings are those. When you put up your protection, only your highest and best or better gets through. So we often tell ourselves the old story over and over and over again. It's amazing to me how many people I meet who are in their 50s, 60s, and 70s who are still living out of a story that happened to them when they were 4 or 5 or maybe even younger. And they haven't moved past that. They're still carrying that trauma like it's a treasure. So here's my suggestion to you. First of all, take some time away. Turn off the TV. Let what's happening out there happen. You'll be amazed when you turn it back on again. Take some time away. Sit, and be still. See what bubbles up. When I did that, what bubbled up is, I'm love. Now, I'm grouchy sometimes, I'm bitchy sometimes, I'm angry sometimes. And when that happens, I realize, whoa, wait a minute. Is this me or is this somebody else? And then I get to sort through that. When I put up my protection and I walk around with my protection, my cosmic egg, and then I stop and feel my cosmic egg is up, it's all around me. How do I feel? If I don't feel safe, if I don't feel happy, I bump out the outside edge of that egg. Years ago, for one of my clients, the egg was 8 miles thick before she felt safe. 8 miles thick. So walk in protection. When you feel something, you will know that it's yours and not someone else's. When you know that, then you can look, oh, what story am I running? Am I running the old story of my trauma, or am I running a new story? Write your old story. Burn your old story and bury your old story. There's no life left in it. And as you're writing it, give yourself a time frame. Don't sit down and, 5 hours later, you're still dredging this stuff up. Give yourself 45 minutes. The reason that 45 minutes is important is it's less than an hour. It's significant. And if it doesn't come up to get written, burned, and buried in 45 minutes, maybe it's not that important. Maybe you don't need to play in that playground anymore. Maybe you don't need to entertain those goblins. When I was feeling miserable a few days ago, it was because I was whining away about society's idea of who the hell I am. How does society know that? It's not their beeswax, right? So figure out who you are, what you want, and who you're here to serve. And then come from that place. For me, drumming really puts me into the space of feeling calm, feeling relaxed, feeling connected with the divine. So if you're having moments and you are wondering what to do about it, because we all want to do something about it, then write the story that's bugging you at the moment. Don't lounge around in the whole story. Do it for 45 minutes. Burn the story and bury the ashes. And then cleverly write yourself a new story and live from that new story. I live from the I am love. And sometimes, sometimes I'm human. I have 2 little legs. Sometimes I bump into a feeling, and I did act out of that feeling. Now, is that feeling mine or is it someone else's? Well, sorting it all out, I came to realize that society thinks that I ought to be doing something different. Society thinks that I ought to be being quiet and feel bad and be miserable because I don't own a home, because I haven't got an address right now. But what if I claim my gypsy spirit? And what if I say, you know what? It's not really in my blood to do that again. I have owned several homes. I was even an affluent homeowner. No, not, what's it called? I had rental properties. and so, I had all of that. It didn't necessarily make my heart sing. So find out what makes your heart sing. What's important to you? You're not going to find this out by running around, being busy. You're going to find it by getting still, by getting quiet, by spending time with just you. So my invitation to you is to, if you're entertaining your old story, if you're feeling miserable, then you're living your old story. And you can't write a new story when you're busy running around in your old story. And most of us will give more time and energy to our old stories and living out of those than we do to taking a few minutes, less than an hour. Write your old story, burn your old story, write yourself a new one. So the pain of the old story is often worse than the event because we drag it along years and years and years and years. How many times have you heard somebody talk about a divorce that happened 20 years ago? Or an event that happened decades ago to them, and they're still re-traumatizing themselves because the shortest distance between truth and lies is from your lips to your ears. That's not very far. You tell yourself, oh, I could never do that. Oh, that's not for me. I'm not good enough. I'm not the one. And you believe what you tell yourself. It's the most amazing thing. We tell ourselves all bunches of hoopla, and we believe them. So take a few minutes. Understand that the old story is running your life. If you don't have what you want, whether it's a partner, a business, a car, a home, if you don't have those things, it's because you have a belief that you're not allowed to have them. Who the hell told you that? And if it wasn't you, do you really need to be steeped in that any longer? I believe not. So the old story is more traumatizing than the event. And when you continually tell yourself that over and over and over again, then what happens is you re-traumatize every cell of your body. So write it, burn it, and bury it. And then allow yourself to be in a new story of you. And how magnificent would that be? What's your new story going to be? So drop me a note down there and let me know what your new story is going to be. And in the meantime, let's give away some love so we can get some back. Because this is a world of reciprocity. We give and we receive. And my personal belief is what we put out in the world comes back to us 3 to 10 times. So let's be mindful about what comes out of here. Let's be mindful of the story we tell ourselves about our limitations. Oh, you could never do that. And right now you might be noticing that women are rising up. I don't mean just in politics, I mean across the board. There are right now more female medical students than male. This is new. This is historic. And we are more than half the population of the planet. So let's put our hearts and our souls together. Let's rise together. Let's love on one another. Let's encourage each other that we don't have to live out of that old story. Our grandma's story is not our story. Your old story doesn't need to be your now story. So take a nice deep breath. Energize your hands. Place your hands on your heart. Take a nice deep breath and open fully to give, accept, and embrace all the good the universe has for you. One more time. I open fully and freely to give it away, give it away, give it away. Accept, big old bowls with your hands, and embrace, put it in your heart, all the good the universe has for me. One last time, I open fully and freely to give, accept, and embrace all the good the universe has for me. So, namaste, aho, bliss, and if no one has told you so far today, you are amazing. So thank you for watching. If you're watching the replay, blessings on you. And I'm still taking the summer off. Yeah. And some days it's a challenge. I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do with myself? I'm taking the summer off. So, so we all have those moments of, wait a minute, I'm just chill now. And then the anxiety comes up. Where's it coming from? Is it coming truly from you, or is it coming from outside? People saying, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. So don't should on yourself, and don't should on anyone else either. And taking the summer off also means that I'm cultivating some really amazing courses. I'm cultivating some ways of being that I haven't done before. And so watch for that. So blessings on you. Namaste, aho, bliss, and love ya. See ya. Bye-bye.